Hey team, you're watching Hide and Sneaks and 2024 is officially over. So that means it's a great time to look back at the calendar releases for the year and review them, which is what I'm going to do for several models, starting off with the Jordan Retro lineup. Today, we'll be looking at the Jordan 3 from best to worst. So there weren't a lot of Jordan 3s that released this year, so I'm going to group the men's and women's pairs in together. But before I do that, there's just one thing I want to mention, and that is my bold claim for 2025 is I think the Jordan 3 might be the new hyped model silhouette. Now let me explain it real quickly why. If we look at the past few years, like Jordan 1s, they always come in and out of rotation and popularity. Following on from the more Jordan 1 hype that we saw around sort of 2018, we moved into early COVID times, all that demand behind the Nike Dunk and Nike Dunk SB. That then transitions into the Air Jordan 4, and that's about where we are in the current climate, looking for that next model because the Jordan 4s were released in bulk, and now we're not as excited by them. Nike and Jordan are great at building up hype behind pairs, and they often do this through great collaborations, wearable colorways, and releasing a lot of models. So mark my words, Jordan 3s might be the next one. So with that prediction out of the way, let's get into it with my last place pair on this list. Now this is a woman's Jordan 3 colorway, and as you can probably see, it's a bit of an acquired taste. It's kind of desert camo vibes, it's supposed to be a nod to the WNBA, and I just don't see it myself. So considering it's not very wearable, and because it doesn't make the Jordan 3 silhouette work very well, I think this is pretty low. Next up on the list, we have a pair that's slightly above the pair I just shown you. There's some things that work slightly better for this, and I think that just because it's got elephant print, and I think it's because it's just a more standard interpretation of a Jordan 3, being a white base with some elephant print. What brings it down for me though is they take things just a little bit too far. The Jordan 3 is meant to be a clean, simple colorway with all these extra additional patterns on it, such as the camo and the pink outsole. I think this doesn't deserve to be high in the Jordan 3s that released this year. Similarly, I put this next one in that similar space. It's a little bit more wearable, but I don't think it does some of the things that makes the Jordan 3 strong. I'm not saying every Jordan 3 has to have elephant print, but this to me just seems a little uninspired. Moving on to our next one on the list, this is effectively just a general release colorway inspired by, I'd say, the fire red with cement grey accents. So it's meant to be something that kind of continues the overall Jordan 3 output for the calendar year, but isn't meant to be anything super exciting. You'll get to wear this, but I do think you'll find if you're going to buy a pair of Jordan 3s, there are other, mostly white Jordan 3s that should pick over this one. Following up on the last pair, we have a Jordan 3 women's pair here, which I think is an example of what I meant just before, which is a Jordan 3, if it's going to be mostly white, should have a little bit of the classic OG sort of touches, but a little bit of interest. And I think that little pop of colour on the heel does a little bit more to elevate it from being a typical OG styling, so it's a little bit more memorable. Now, speaking of something that's not memorable but definitely is wearable, is this Jordan 3 Green Glow. Look, any other year I would say this was a great entry in the Jordan 3 colorway category. However, this released in the same year as the Jordan 3 Black Cement, and you can so clearly see it has been inspired by that color blocking. So if you were getting this pair as a replacement or a bit of a vibe check for the Jordan 3 Black Cement, absolutely no problems for me. But the fact that a few months later such a good pair released, for me, this could only be middle of the list. This next pair is a similar situation to the last. Any other year this would be so high on the list. Arm & Year's second collaboration on a Jordan 3. So you know materials are great, wearability will be good, and there was a decent amount of hype behind this model. But what I can't seem to shake is the fact that it is largely inspired by the colour blocking of the Jordan 3 Black Cement with Arm & Year's styling and take on it. So it's still a very good pair, and I think it'd be a great addition to your collection. But if you're looking for what would be the best Jordan 3 of 2024, I just don't think this is it. Now, talking about a collaboration that's done things a little bit more interesting is this release here. It's done an exceptional job on using its materials to add interest while still making a good use of the overall Jordan 3 silhouette. This to me is a great example of not all good Jordan 3s need to have elephant print if you use the pattern to your advantage and create depth and texture, which this pair has done great. It's a good collaboration. But it's not my favourite because my favourite collaboration of the year is this pair here, the second Jordan 3 collaboration with J Balvin. Look, I like the wearability of this. It's black, but it's got such an interest piece with the way it's done the midsole as a bit of a reference to that sunset aesthetic, similar to what we saw in their first collaboration on 3s. But here against that matte black background, it pops, and you've got to admit, that black black elephant print just looks so good when accented with such vibrant colours. And I definitely see the sunset vibes they were going for here. And now my second best Jordan 3 for 2024 is this pair here. And I know it's really surprising considering it's just come over the top of 3 other amazing collaborations. Interesting because it's only a plain white sneaker, but I think that white and its sail mix, it just makes it look and feel premium. Myself, I've always viewed the Jordan 3 as a bit of a premium style pair, and I think it's something you should be able to wear on occasions that you can't wear necessarily with Jordan 1s, Jordan 4s, or some of the more sort of performance inspired pairs. Because of the way it uses its leather in its panels, I think it lends itself to high fashion, and I think this pair does a great job at an elevated take on an all white sneaker. And that would be my number 1 pair if it wasn't for the amazing return of the Jordan 3 Black Cement. Look, I love my pair. You've seen my enthusiasm for that in my review. And if you haven't seen my enthusiasm for that in my review, you can check it up here. Outside of the overall wearability of the shoe being such a good, easy wear black pair, it's steeped in Jordan lore. It's such a great OG Jordan 3 colorway, and I'd say one of the top OG colorways of not just Jordan 3s, but potentially any Jordan ever. And that is game time. Now we've ranked all the Jordan 3s. Let me know in the comment section below if you agree or if there are other pairs that you felt deserve to be at the very top of this list. Now I'm going to be working through the other Jordan Retro models, and I might sprinkle a couple other ones in there, maybe some LeBrons, Kobe's, KD's, heck, I might even go crazy and do some Crocs. Let me know in the comment section below what model you want me to do next, and I will do my ratings from worst to best for the 2024 calendar. Until then, like and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching.